instead of spending all of your time and all of your energy on this idea of like leveling up your business, just level up your humanity.
Yeah.
Just like be a better person, like a better friend, a better client, a better artist, a better husband. Like find ways to be more valuable to the people around you and contribute more authentic value to those people. And if you have found a calling in being a photographer, and there is an actual, like there's longevity to that calling, just being better is going to work its way into your work.
Yeah.
And and the clients are going to approach you based on that. But that's not like that sounds so preachy. And what's fascinating is that this is a lesson, I guess, or a story that I can only speak to because I am learning it on a daily basis. Based on just being a relatively confident and at the same time insecure guy in my youth, right? It was like I became this artist that I knew how to fake what people wanted, but I didn't know, to your point, I didn't know how to do it with longevity. And so over time, I've had to kind of whittle away, sort of cut the fat and get rid of things that felt toxic or that felt like they were in my way. And what I've been left with is just, this is me. And when my clients hire that now, they know what they're getting out of it, which is really freeing, honestly, as an artist. Then I actually wrote a paper my senior year of college, titled, this is paraphrasing the title, but the point of it was why wedding photography is ruining photography. I was passionate about this, guys.
That's harsh.
I was passionate. I was serious. This is the end of
going back to our convictions conversation. How do you have such strong convictions?
That was 2009, right? Like, let me see if I can kind of get on the photo tilt. Remember the tilt thing? What do they call that, right? Where everything was like falling off the edge of the, yeah, there you go.
Bro.
We just didn't know what we were doing. And
that angle's creative, man. You just
my wedding. It was before my wedding, actually. It was this decision of, and like I said, it's evolved so much since then. It was so much more like depth and authenticity. But this decision of understanding that, like, every time I did a shoot in New York, the best at best, the response that I got was, that will work. And then the work would get shipped off to the editors, and I would get, what I would see back was this like mutilated version of what I had shot anyway. Right. And you've got an art director here and a creative director here. Now, keep in mind, I'm not like a big time photographer. I was just a kid with way too much camera equipment. So I still have all these people with opinions on how I'm going to shoot. But that was the best response I ever got, was people being like, hey, that'll work. That'll do.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I was a kayak photographer, the best response I ever got was people being like, that's so rad, but only because they were like Texas tourists who got kicked out of the back of a raft. And the fact that I caught it was all that mattered.
Yeah.
There was no value placed on it. And after I shot those first couple of weddings on my own, and I delivered those weddings, and I started to hear the responses back from people, and the responses were like deep and meaningful, and they, like I said, it kind of fed my soul. It was like suddenly I felt as though there was a version of this that wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
And so, that was it. And then I got married, and that's a whole other story. But when I got married, for lack of a better way to put it, and I wouldn't want to burn anybody that hears this or whatever, but our wedding photos are pretty underwhelming. That's a polite way to put it. But we hired a friend who is, these days, is insanely talented. But at the time, I think I invested in potential and not in actual, like whatever. And still, I wrote this on a blog the other day. So now you want to see my writing. But I wrote about this on a blog the other day. These images that are okay. We've got a lot of them, but there aren't very many of them that I actually like, and they're okay. But there's 4 of them that we have have printed that hang up in our hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And they're images that for a few years in there, every time I walked by them, it just kind of rubbed me wrong because it was sort of this feeling of disappointment of like,
Interesting.
I wish that I had what I deliver.
Yeah.
But that's just youth and arrogance and ridiculousness. The longer that we're married, the more I realize that I've walked through that hallway now when I have been in huge fights with my wife. I've walked through that hallway when I slam the door and I'm sleeping upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I've walked through that hallway most mornings, like groggy eyed and just stumbling through and, trying to go wake up my son for school. I've held newborn babies down that hallway. Like the number of times that I have glanced over at this image that I don't like, but that I still see so much love in is remarkable. And that image isn't aging, but I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that realization as I get older is the thing I think that is putting more and more depth into my work, is this understanding that like the the wound has healed a little bit on the fact that I don't love my wedding images, but I do love the woman in them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just really want the opportunity to not provide this instant gratification and the most likes, comments, and follows possible, but the opportunity to deliver something to people that they get to love today and 10 years from now, instead of me, where it took me 10 years to get there.
For sure. The unfortunate thing is there's very few people that will be able to do that for you.